Welcome back to Beyond the Buckets. Happy to have Matt Durell from Bay City Basketball. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Chris. Thanks a lot for having me. Really appreciate the invite. This is awesome.
Good, man. Well, I'm glad to have you on and take a deep dive into club basketball. You are one of the clubs that I really respect out in the Bay Area. I think we started around the same time, around 2009, 2010. So we've kind of grown up together, and we've obviously played a ton of times. Our programs have, and we've collaborated a bunch of times. And so I'm really excited to have our conversation.
Absolutely, looking forward to it.
So why don't we start off with a bang? Why don't we give the listeners some information, maybe a fun fact or two that they might not know about you.
Fun fact. Born in San Francisco, but I grew up in the East Bay, so that's kind of where the name Bay City came from. Wanted to incorporate, all of the Bay, but also my love of the city because I was born there. And I was living in the city in the time, around the time 2006, up until about 4 or 5 years ago. So we really wanted to kind of develop that program, in the city, but still had kind of a Bay feel to it and attracted kids from all over the Bay Area. So that's kind of just a little bit about, where the name Bay City came from. Fun fact about me. Grew up playing baseball, grew up really enjoying different sports, ping pong being one of my favorites, golf, tennis, individual sports that really drew me to the mental side of sports and being locked in, being in the zone. And so that's just a little bit about my background of love of sport. So
well, I can definitely relate to two of those things. One, ping pong. So my wife and I are very competitive. So the only thing she's ever beaten me at is ping pong. And we were on a cruise out in the Bahamas, and we were going to play a 7-game series. I believe we were either going to 11 each game or 21 each game. I forgot. But we made it to the last game and the last point. So the boat kind of shifts a little bit, and she ends up winning, and she hasn't let me live that down yet. So that would be one thing on the ping pong. Not sure if you and your wife play ping pong, but that was the last time we played because I really don't like losing. And then I grew up playing 3 sports: football, basketball, and baseball. Baseball is actually my best sport. Basketball is my favorite sport, and football, that's the sport that I ended up playing collegiately. So it was, it's interesting that, you had that baseball tie and the ping pong. So.
absolutely, yeah. I grew up with really close to my dad, and my dad and I used to go to a swim club when we were really young, and we would go swimming, and then we would play ping pong after school when I was probably in fourth, fifth grade. And my dad was really good at ping pong, and I started to get pretty good, and we would just battle, and we would get so competitive. And usually he'd beat me, he wouldn't let me win, and I'd end up kind of freaking out a little bit, hitting the ball really hard at him, and then kind of giving up. But eventually I built up, and I could finally beat him. And to this day, sometimes we'll go play ping pong, and we'll just get super sweaty and super into it, and it's really competitive. And I like to think I'm a pretty decent ping pong player.
Nice.
But baseball as well. My father coached me in baseball when I was little, and played all the way up until through high school as well, even though basketball kind of took over as my main love. But love pitching. I love being the mental side of it. Like I mentioned, just being in the zone, on the mound, one-on-one versus the hitter. Like there's nothing like that in any sport. So it was something that was really important to me growing up.
Definitely. I should have continued to play baseball. I probably had a pretty good future in that. But it just got too slow for me. It was slow.
Yeah.
I used to play in center field. So especially if we had one of our good pitchers on the mound, I wouldn't get too many balls hit to me. And then I get up 4 times a game. And it's like, even if you're a leadoff hitter, it was like, I kind of want some more action, but I definitely have a lot of respect for baseball. I do want to talk to you about the father part. At what age were you able to beat him? And did he ever never let up on you. That's one of the things that I'm never gonna allow. Even to this day, my son, he'll shoot on his little mini hoop, and I'll block him every now and again. I'll let him get some shots up, but I'm never gonna let him beat me until he can actually do it. Because it sounds like you took a sense of pride from that.
Absolutely. I mean, in ping pong, I would rarely beat him, but in terms of basketball, I did finally kind of beat him when I was 12.
Hmm.
That was the first time I actually beat him in one on one. I was taller than him by then. I'm 6'5", and my dad's only 5'9". So
Yeah.
I was blessed with being a little bit taller than him, and finally did beat him when I was 12. But he was a good player, and he would back me down and post me up, and he had a great post game, and he had an old school game where he hit a lot of mid range jumpers. He
Uh-huh.
could back me down and do little hooks, both lefty and righty, off the backboard, and he would take me to school, and it was a lot of fun. He wouldn't take it easy on me. We had a lot of great games.
That's good.
But yeah, it was the
Did your
great
mom
memories of
did your mom
battling.
have all the height on the on your mom's side?
She's got more height on her side. She's 5'9", so she is a taller woman. Yeah, yeah, we always kind of just joke around that I'm kind of a freak of nature, just because we don't know. Actually, I'm the tallest person in our family, and we don't really know how that happened. I guess for basketball wise, it was a blessing. So
It's amazing how that all shakes out. So, um, well, let's jump into the club basketball. Tell me, we'll kind of get into some COVID stuff in a little bit, but, tell me about the landscape before COVID of club basketball. And you guys are doing some really great things. So, maybe tell the listeners about that.
sure. Yeah, I mean, the landscape has been amazing in club basketball in the Bay Area. Like in the last, I mean, before COVID, in the last 5 to 7 years, I mean, it just seemed like with the evolution of the Warriors becoming great, and Steph Curry, and basketball in the Bay just blew up. I mean, it's just been it's been awesome. I mean, for the tournament scene, it just blew up. It seemed like everybody was throwing tournaments left and right. I mean, our team program grew, exponentially, from 2012 up until 2019. It always seemed like we were growing almost every year. So many more kids wanted to come out and play. Kids were so much more eager to really put in the work, and practice hard, and it seemed like the big massive the massive tournaments. There was huge tournaments going on, in Las Vegas and Anaheim, and these huge multi-court facilities. And I always call it the gold rush of youth basketball, or AAU basketball, in California, the Bay Area, and in the country. It seems like, and it's made it it's been really fun and really competitive, and a lot of great clubs and all over the Bay Area, and great competition, and a lot of great coaches. It's a lot of great coaches that coached high school started coaching club, and it was a great time. It was really a great time before COVID hit, and our club benefited from that kind of rush, and the great Warrior teams, and it was a special time for us and for the kids. The kids really had. I mean, I always say I wish when I was a kid I had the opportunity to play in the club basketball program, like your program or like our program, where there's so many opportunities to get games. Some kids are playing up to 40, 50 games in a year. Like, I mean, some people will argue that's not necessarily good for the player, but I would have loved it if I was a kid getting all those opportunities, and especially the connections, the friendships that these kids get to make through our clubs. And it's a pretty cool thing. So
Definitely. I don't, and I'll ask this question as a follow up, but when we first started, we were with another organ, and I say we because it wasn't just me. Like, I guess I'm the CEO and the founder, but there was so many other people that obviously Stephen Giles and Alex Surrett that have played a big role in what we do. But we were in another organization, just a small organization. They only went up to eighth grade at the time, and we just thought we could do something a little bit better. They had more of an old school mindset, and I had read Pete Carroll's book at that probably around that time, and it was do it better than it's ever been done. And that's kind of that was our motto in in starting Top Flight. and we just wanted to do it better than it's ever been done in the area. And I think we accomplished our goal as far as trying to make it as best as we can with with the resources and the coaching and the tools that we had to do that. What was your um, what was your reason for starting Bay City?
Yeah. Just kind of back in about 2006, I moved to San Francisco after college, and I got a sports management degree down in Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and I knew I wanted to start doing something in the athletic realm for sure. I started coaching AAU basketball with Flight Elite out in the East Bay, and Phil Doherty is one of my mentors. He's one of the founders of that club, and just got really into it in coaching, and just loved everything about it, from the development to the kids, to the strategy in the games, to preparing in practice, um, to the to the camaraderie trips. So we're doing that a little bit in San Francisco, and then I just started up, me and a partner who's no longer involved, Nick Whitmore. He's on the East Coast, great guy, great coach. We kind of just started up, kind of got the idea to start up our own club. We didn't think there was anything like it in San Francisco at the time. There were some good clubs and some good things. We thought we could add to the San Francisco basketball space, and so we just started it up. And Nick ran the girls' side, I did the boys' side, and this was in 2008, 2009. Um, and then we really kind of got going with about 8 or 9 teams, and we just kind of took it from there. A couple of years after that, Nick got out of it. He went to kind of the college route, and we added some of the other directors we have today, like Will Watkins, who's the girls' director, and John Shogan, Richard Robinson, and Paul Cortez. And these guys, I just got really lucky and got a great staff of guys who were really we all have something in common. We really do value kind of playing the game in the right way and teaching kids how to play the right way. And of course, we could have a long conversation about what is the right way to play basketball, but there's a million right ways. But we wanted to teach the kids how to play and have great sportsmanship, and have, care about each other, and have compassion, have empathy, and just kind of not be a win at all cost program. And we kind of took it from there, and we've been successful with that game plan. And just like you guys, I mean, we've always really respected, you guys for being similar to us. We have the same values. We're not win at all costs. We care more about the kids than winning games necessarily. And we really do want to, teach the kids how to play so they can be successful in high school. It was all about kind of, hey, our youth teams, we want to develop you so you can be great high school basketball players. How can we do that? And I think we started with a kind of a small idea, and it became something bigger, and more about the kids and their connections, and their connections with each other's, and the family's connections, and building friendships, and a community, and really building a community in San Francisco. And some of the kids come from other areas, and giving the kids just a great experience, giving the kids something that, I didn't get the opportunity to have when I was a kid.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a great past 10 to 12 years here with it.
What are some lessons learned that you've come across over the last decade or so, as far as being I call it a sports entrepreneur? You're in the entrepreneurial business of sports. I did a podcast, a while back on that, and kind of engrossing yourself in all aspects of it. For me, once college ended, sports was the only thing that kind of lit a fire under me. And that was the only reason why I tried to do well in school, is because I had sports. And so that was always something that I wanted to do. I wanted to do this, when I was in high school. I said I want to have some sort of academy where we can have football, basketball, baseball, soccer, you name it. And we've had baseball, and we're actually getting ready to launch football too.
Very cool.
it's just the only thing that really ignited me. And then you have to go through the process of, okay, well, how can you actually, benefit kids? That's the first and foremost thing. And then second thing, all right, well, how can you live by doing this? So you got to do other things, right? And then, and you get to a point where you're at now, where this is what you do, 12 months out of the year. Um, so what would your advice be to people that want to be an entrepreneur in the sports industry, or really advice for any person in business?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think that we really were a basketball startup, and during in the Bay Area during the tech boom and all the startups and everything going on, and we really were. We started working in our bedroom or working in our apartment, and and we 100% considered ourselves a startup. We became a nonprofit organization because we knew we wanted to sector and do things and not be a big for-profit company. Um, and in terms of advice to give to people about starting their own business, I mean, if you're if you're gonna do something like this, you have to treat it as a business. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to start up a couple things on and do this on the side," or kind of, "Oh, this is going to be a side hustle," or because really it's not going to be successful unless you really see it as and you're very serious about it. And it doesn't mean you have to take the love of take everything like the love of the game and take that out of it, because this all came from my love of coaching, but or our love of coaching, our coaches and our organizers. But just in terms of, you have to be very serious about the way you organize everything you do. Your time management has to be extremely important in creating a business and creating whatever type of business you are trying to run, and, or especially in sports. There's a lot of people, the mom and pop organizations, a lot of times they just don't work out because they're not as organized, because someone's trying to do them on the side. And you really have to be very organized to run any business. So I guess that'd be the number one thing. Um, yeah, and then at first, we all, most of us like you, coach out of school as well.
Right.
So I've been coaching at Stuart Hall High School for the past 10 years. Charlie Johnson, one of my mentors over there, who's an incredible coach, a great guy, good friend, and a guy who I've just learned a ton from. And it's really helped me, my coaching, to be able to work under him and to learn how to coach basketball at a high level by coaching at a under, have a mentor. That's a great piece of advice. Like, be open to learning from people, and people who are older than you, and people who have been doing this for a lot longer. And I think, with anything, to be successful, you have to get a bunch of people that are good at whatever you're trying to do. And by getting people that are good coaches to come along with you, that was so important for us. And
Right.
I think all of us, almost every single person in our organization, at least our 6 employees that we have, we have coached high school and worked under someone who's older and more experienced. So for me, that was gigantic, and it really got me, just lit a fire under my butt to like really be passionate and learn how to coach the game of basketball.
Definitely. uh I, like I was I was, before I took over my own program, I had 8 years of studying under really great coaches. One of my former high school coaches, I was able to be on his staff. Then one of my best friends, who's younger than me, but he had just got done coaching, and Ryan Cooper, he's now coaching at San Jose State on the women's side. But I work for him. I also went to Monte Vista and worked under Manny Messi, who played at Seton Hall, and he's played in the Big East. So I got to learn a bunch of triangle stuff from him. And he used to coach at Pinewood, and he still coaches. He's an assistant coach at St. Francis now. Then Pat Judge, my former AAU coach when I was in high school, I went and learned under him, and just getting all those different perspectives of people and how they interact with their players, interact with the parents, how they run their programs. I've taken bits and pieces and basically put it into what I like. I'm not going to be Pat Judge. I'm not going to be Ryan Cooper. I'm going to be me, and I'm always going to be me. But I got to be able to put those pieces together, and how does it fit with what I want to do? Or, Pat and I was a sideline baseline type of coach, and Pat still runs a lot of zones, and I was always forcing sideline and baseline, and we would have debates about why would we want to force to the baseline, and he was a force middle guy, and so just those conversations, or the 1-2 versus the hop on shooting, just so many debates with my colleagues about that sort of stuff, or what type of offense, a spread offense, a ball screen offense, post centered offense, just really great things. And you're right, having mentors and mentors that actually become friends, like you mentioned, it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, it seems like my entire life, all my friends that I've had that I've developed have been from the game of basketball, or at least from playing sports, and that's one of the most powerful things. The most powerful thing, I think, I always tell people about how, what we believe in with our club is if you get nothing out of our club in terms of getting better at basketball, you will gain 10 friends,
Right.
and then that's always going to help you in life, having social skills, being able to have friends, and have things to do, and have connections, and as you go through life. But yeah, having work mentors, basketball mentors, the conversations are always a lot of fun. The forced baseline conversations hilarious, because Charlie Johnson at Stuart Hall is always a forced middle guy, pack line defense, and I'm always kind of like, I don't know, I think I might like baseline better too, just like you. So it's kind of funny. He loves the Princeton offense. We've been running that for the last 3 years. The Princeton offense is a lot of these teams are running it these days, like Richmond, in college, and there's a lot of great things about it. But with some teams, I'm always kind of like, hey, I think if you have certain personnel, you should kind of design your offense around your personnel, rather than making your personnel, um, adjust to what offense you're running. So that's always a conversation too. Do you put your system in and then have the players adjust, or do you have the here's your roster and now I'm going to put in this system? So that's another one. That's a fun conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you with that. I've changed my offense based on the kids that we have at the school. Uh, right
Yeah.
now we've got well, we're not. Well, hopefully we get to play this year. I don't know. This will air in April. We're filming it in January, but I'm hoping by that time we're actually playing in games. But there's been times where we run a ball screen offense similar to what Gonzaga is. There's been elements of the Princeton that we really like. Spread, which is dribble drive, that type of single gap, double gap, triple gap, if we can get that. So all of these things I've incorporated. In time and time, and then we got quick hitters, but it's really based on the personnel. I want to get our best players to basketball as many times as possible, where they can make either a decision for themselves or make a play for somebody else. And the more skilled players you have, the better, obviously. But I always try to cultivate the offense based on the personnel rather than a full system.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to, like you said, the more skilled players, the better. Get your players the ball in the right spots. Create ball movement, player movement. There's definitely aspects of the Princeton offense I enjoy, and I like and think are fantastic. If you have a good post who can pass and can play and can pick and pop and can shoot it, and it just depends. If you got a bunch of rocket ships from the outside that can drive the ball, get downhill, then you run some dribble drive, and got some shooters who can drive and kick too. And I've had in the past, some of my good Bay City teams, I've had incredible post players, and incredible drivers, and we would play, how can we get the ball to our post players in good spots to score down low, so you definitely got to adjust to your players, and then it's a little, sometimes it's a little bit less, it's a little bit less of you and more of them, and letting them play and letting them make plays. And as long as they're, playing the right way, moving the ball, taking good shots, um, and shooting high percentage shots, and then I'm okay with it. So I've learned that over the last 10 years, in just terms of not over coaching. And that's something it's hard to do, because I want to win, and I want to be successful. I want my players to look good. I want all of us to look good. And have fun playing the game the right way. And it's hard to do that and to let go sometimes,
Yeah.
especially when your players are not taking good shots. That's the main part. If they're not taking good shots, they're not moving the ball, they're playing individual basketball. Then hey, all right, well, what can I do? I got to put myself and create more opportunities for them to do that. And how am I going to do that? So um but
I like the less is more approach. When I first got my first varsity head coaching job, I had like my play set was like 50 plays.
yeah, yeah,
And it was like, there's zero chance that we can be good at really any of them if we have so many. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to have that many plays. And now we probably have about 10 to 12, but most of the time, I kind of want them to play free flowing, teaching them how to play, ball movement, player movement, ball moves, bodies move, and screening, setting screens and getting open, stuff like that. We love the flare screen, pin downs, that sort of thing, where it's like you're on the wing, you see the ball come, go pin down for somebody, instead of just waiting on the wing where the defense is stationary and you can't really do anything. And we would go, probably the same way as I was, go to all these coaching clinics, get a whole bunch of great notes, and you would have imposter syndrome. It was a coaching clinic in your practice where it's like, no, let these kids play. I don't know if you follow Chris Oliver at all, with basketball immersion.
I don't actually know.
He's got a really great podcast called the Basketball Podcast. Super simple, but it's a great podcast. And the majority of the stuff that he talks about is skill enhancement, but it's based on the game's approach. So, if we watch a game and we see all these actions that are happening, how many of these actions actually lead to the desired outcome, which is a bucket? And most of the time, or 80% of the time, it doesn't. It leads to a breakdown play where the kids have to figure it out. Somebody misses the screen or doesn't hit somebody on the
Someone's got to
screen.
make a play. Yeah,
Somebody's got to end up making a play. So why don't we start practicing more of the game's approach, things that happen in the game more often? Because there's so many times where we focus on these things, and I got to the point where it's like, should we be forcing them right or left, or should we just only force them left? Should we? Does it matter? Like last year, we just pushed everybody to the left, and then if you were the anchor defender on the weak side, the ball was on the right side of the court for the defense, left side of the court, then you're going to come all the way over, and because that's what we're forcing. But we're not going to help as much if the ball's on the right side of the court or left side of the defense, because we're forcing them back this way anyway. So it's just interesting how you get older and you become more wiser because of some of these things.
absolutely. You evolve as a coach, just like you do as a human being, and you learn different things along the way. And I think it's super important to evolve as a coach. You can't just keep being the same exact way. And especially with modern kids and modern day kids are different. The game's different. You watch the success of a player like James Harden in the NBA, and you see that, and the kids want to play like that, though, right? They want to play that same way. They want to emulate the superstars and these guys that are successful with all the fancy dribble moves and the step backs and all that. And at the same time, it's a compromise. You want to put them in offense where they can have fun, where they feel like they're making plays, but at the same time, where they're still playing like we say, playing the right way, moving without the ball, learning how to actually set screens. So many people don't even know how to set screens anymore. They don't know how to get their teammates open, because no one works on that anymore. Everyone just works on having the ball in their hand. But and there's a lot of that still, but there's also trying to incorporate all the different ways to play, not just being tied down to one play, especially 6th through 8th grade, because who knows what high school they're going to go to. So it's like if we only teach our if we taught every single kid only how to play dribble drive and kick, or handoffs and all that, then what if they go to a high school where they're playing Princeton, or what if they go to a high school where it's all screen away, or ball screen offense? Like, so I try to incorporate and I try to encourage our youth coaches to also not just get bogged down with one way of playing.
Right.
So then they can be successful with whatever high school program they go to, because we want to make them successful high school basketball player. And then our high school players, if their goal is to play college, all right, how can we make them successful for college? But really for youth, which is definitely our youth teams, or I'd say our bread and butter of our program. How can we really teach them how to play in a lot of different ways? Hey, a lot of kids don't even know how to throw the ball into the post anymore.
Right.
And they don't even look in the post, because you do watch, NBA, or a lot of times they don't, there's not a lot of post scores anymore these days.
Right.
So, I think that's really important, not to get away too far from the fundamentals of the game, and learning how to play in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Switching subject just a little bit, tell me what it's like. And I think we were on the call, we talked in March. Oh, we thought it was probably going to be 2 weeks that we're shut down, and then figuring out what we're going to do after that. And then, a couple of weeks go by, and then we're thinking, oh, we'll be back by June, July. And then,
yep.
we haven't returned in almost a year. And it's unfortunate, because you see high school football and other sports, basketball going on in so many other states. It's extremely frustrating for, not just the coaches, but the families, and most importantly, the kids. They don't have an opportunity to have that outlet. So tell me how this last 10 months has kind of been for you.
Yeah, it's been crazy, and um, it's sad. It's sad, but at the same time, you got to just keep moving and keep going, and keep trying to create ways for the kids to have opportunities to be out there and getting exercise, and keeping their mental health up, and having connection with their friends. And we started out back in March, when everything hit. We started out with 3 straight months where we were doing 5 days a week of Zoom workouts, and we were doing usually 3 different ones a day. So we would do basically one for, if a kid was in an apartment and had nowhere to dribble, there would be something for him. If a kid had a backyard where they can shoot, there may be a basket workout a couple days a week. Older, younger, different types of workouts. You name it, we had it. We had interviews. We had all sorts of things going on 5 days a week. It might have been the hardest 3 months of our entire 11-year existence of our club. And all the work to pivot to adjusting to being on shutdown, and being on, but still giving the kids a chance to be on the team that they had just tried out for, and getting that Bay City basketball experience. And making sure and making sure that we still operated. And obviously that was important. We still wanted to be operating. We didn't want to have to put our employees on furlough. We have 6 employees, and also still giving the coaches opportunities, our coaches who coach those teams, giving them opportunities to still work by having them be the star of the workouts. And so we did about 3 months of that. In the summer, things kind of, eased up a little bit. So we were able to do some non-contact workouts with masks on, outside primarily. I think in the summer, we were able to do a little bit of stuff inside. We were never really able to do any contact stuff. So we just kept doing lots of skill training, just kept doing that. And we kind of ran like almost like a summer camp style team program during that. And then in the fall, we were not able to go in August. The California came in with a thing where we weren't allowed to be inside at all anymore. So we moved everything outside. And I think for a little while we were allowing 3-on-3 when we were in the yellow. And then when the yellow was over, we went back up to the different tier. We went all back to full non-contact, always wearing masks, of course, mask wearing, and then outside. But we just kept going. We just kept offering things for our kids to get outside of their houses. And as long as it was okay and legal to do the in person, and we were always, it was always a priority for us to be following the guidelines as close as we could, keep everything safe. Um, and I think it's been really a blessing for the kids to be able to have something scheduled and have something that's gets them out of their house and gets them out of there and gets them exercise, gets them staying in person with their friends. I think these kids quickly learn forget how to be social. They forget their social skills, and that was, it was sad. It's been tough to watch that happen to a lot of people. And then a lot of kids also didn't want to come to the Zoom, and they didn't do any of that stuff, and it just didn't work for them. So then seeing kind of some of our kids having mental health issues and we're trying to having a lot of phone calls with parents, a lot of phone calls with kids, trying to encourage them to come out to these Zooms, and then once in person stuff, some people still wouldn't, you wouldn't come out, and trying to encourage them to participate. And I think the kids that really participated the whole time really got it. And we've had a lot of encouraging feedback from parents and families, and it's been really rewarding for, I think, the coaching staff too, and our employees and our directors, for providing something for the kids during this time, because it's just been, I think it's the hardest. The COVID time has been the hardest for age seventh grade through high school. I think that's the absolute hardest age, for because it's just, they need that social connection, and they need that exercise too, and without that, their mental health goes down quickly, and that's been a big concern for us. So we've been really happy that we've been able to kind of provide that, this entire time. So
Yeah. Where do you see how do you see us coming out on the back end of this? When will we be able to go to those major tournaments? When we be able to come back to
yeah,
the Bay City League?
yeah. I mean, last year I kind of told myself, like, hey, I kept predicting, I kept saying, oh, like you said, well, no, by the summer we'll be playing. We'll have scrimmages by then. Hey, we'll be able to scrimmage top flight. We'll be able to scrimmage MBBA, or we're gonna be able to scrimmage other clubs that are following the guidelines, and it never happened. It just kept getting pushed back, pushed back, pushed back. So I kind of told myself I'm not going to predict it this time. But with the vaccine here, I think there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I believe imaging. I don't know if it's going to be the big tournaments here, but at least scrimmaging, being able to play basketball inside, scrimmaging, either against ourselves or hopefully another team within the county by the summer. I really think there's a strong chance we'll be able to do that, just with how quickly they're rolling out. Hopefully, they're going to be rolling out that vaccine pretty quickly, and I know there's been some hiccups here in California, but fingers crossed, they start to move on it quicker, and it starts to get better. Obviously, we all just want to get back to some sense of normality, but um, just do whatever the guidelines allow us to do, and we're lucky we haven't had one case of COVID in our program, and with any kids, and it's been, we've been very lucky there. We want to keep that going, and keep providing a safe place for these kids to play. So, but by say play, I'll say train for right now. They're not really play basketball, but when as soon as they say it's time to go back and play, our coaches will have the teams ready to go.
Right. Um, you've got to run the court with 5 players, and you're coaching in outdoor courts because it's COVID. You can have anybody, dead or alive, to play in that pickup game. Who are you picking to play on your squad?
5 players. So NBA players.
Anybody. You could go NBA, WNBA. It doesn't matter. You could pick up.
Wow.
You could
Okay.
pick your buddies from high school if you want.
Sure. Hey, got to go Steph. Steph Curry. I'm a huge Warrior fan, lifelong Warrior fan. So I'm gonna go Steph at the point guard. I'm gonna go um, Clay at the two. Got to go Splash Brothers. I love Clay. Clay and Steph, obviously, Bay legends. I'm gonna go Chris Mullin at the three. All time lefty shooter, knows how to play. Got it done without a lot of athleticism. Love Chris Mullin from back in the '90s. Run TMC. I'm gonna go. I'll be the stretch four, so it's me and five. So I'm the stretch four.
Yeah.
That's my position. And she's center. I'll go Wilt Chamberlain just because the
There you
guy's a
go.
legend and classic Warrior, scored 100 points one time. I believe when back in Philadelphia Warriors history, but I'll go Wilt Chamberlain, probably the most dominating center to ever play the game. Just to kind of bring it back. But yeah, I'm born and raised Warrior fan. Been a fan since day one, since they were a terrible team and in the '90s. So
Yeah.
that'll be my five.
I'm excited to see the Warriors. That's a good team, by the way. I'm excited to. They've started off really well. Steph has really taken it up a notch. I really love watching Draymond Green play. He's definitely not a scoring threat, but he opens anybody who knows basketball knows that guy is making his teammates better. And just seeing what he and Wiseman are doing, the relationship that he's passing down, it's going to be. Wiseman's going to be a very special player because he can really stretch the four as a stretch five. He's bigger than everybody else, and just it's been fun to watch them. I love the game when they played although Wiseman was kind of in foul trouble, but when they played the Lakers the other night, it was unbelievable.
Yeah. The Warriors. That was a great comeback there against the Lakers, and then they also made a huge comeback against the Clippers a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Uh, After last year, obviously anything's an improvement. But I'm a huge Wiseman fan. Drafting Wiseman is that's a knockout draft pick there. I'm a big Draymond fan as well. His amazing glue player. His defense is incredible. Great passer. The pick and roll with Dre and Steph up on top, and they kind of they double team Steph, and he throws it to Dre, and he gets the advantage, and he gets the 3-on-2 on the weak side, and throws the lob to Iguodala or kicks it out to Clay. I mean, that's their go-to play, and or kick it out to KD and during the last couple of years. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun this year seeing them play, and I love the fight on the team. I love their second unit with six-man Eric Pascal.
That's a great
You
pickup too.
a great pick from Villanova. Villanova just that might be it's probably my favorite college team because all their guys just incredible fundamentals. They play the right way. They move the ball. They all perfect jump stops. I love Villanova guys, and not to mention Wanamaker is a great pickup. Bazemore, I just love their fight. The second unit is so much improved this year compared to last, and they're when Clay gets back, I mean, even this year, I think they're going to I think they're going to be about the 7, 8 seed, hopefully playing the play-in tournament, and then when Clay gets back and a couple draft picks next year, and they're right back in the mix. So you better watch out.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I try to watch most Warrior games, usually on tape delay,
Right.
putting the kids to sleep. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm a huge fan. So
I like when they play on the East Coast because I tend to be in bed before 9 every night. So like I was like my wife went to bed, but I'm still like watching the Warriors Lakers game, and it's like I'm nodding off, but like during the timeouts, and then I'm glued as soon as it comes back on. So they got to move those games up since there's no fans. They can put it to 6 o'clock.
I mean, I think they moved it up a little bit. Some of them are at 7 now, but
Right.
yeah, the 4 o'clock ones or the 5 o'clock ones aren't bad. You can kind of throw those on, during dinner time and stuff. But yep, West Coast time.
Last couple of things. How is it with two kids under 3? I'm in the same boat, but it's been an interesting time for us.
Yeah, our son is 3 months old, John Durell, and he's a pleasure to be around, but he's a very calm baby, which is very, very nice for us. Our daughter is 3, Louisa, and she is very high strung, lots of energy. So having the two of them together, it of course is challenging, but um, one thing that is good about COVID is I'm just home so much more, so I'm allowed to. I allow my wife to freeze her up a lot to give her some help with the kids, more help with the kids, I should say, and it's been a good time to raise an infant, and challenging with 2, but that's life, and gotta just do the best we can, and kids are a blessing. It just definitely certainly changes your priorities. That's for sure. I mean, it takes. I used to get pretty upset after a big loss, and I don't think about the losses nearly as long anymore with the kids. And you gotta be focused on your kids, and you gotta you can't be sulking after a loss when when you're around your kids, and then but they quickly, you come into the house and you quickly forget about it, and you're smiling, and your kids are smiling, and they're coming hugging you, and it's the best thing in the world. So
Definitely. I love it.
yeah, I'm loving it.
Tell everybody where they can follow you, Bay City. Yeah.
Shoot us a follow at Bay City B-Ball, Bay City B-Ball on Instagram, Bay City Basketball on Facebook. Yeah, shoot us a follow. Chris, thanks so much for having us. This has been having me. This has been a lot of fun. I've never been on a podcast before. I don't know if you could tell, but this was a lot of fun. Love to do it again sometime. Good luck with everything you do. You do a hell of a job over at Top Flight, and I know your girls team at Valley Christian. You guys are playing a really hard league, and you always have a good team. And you're just one thing about it is you're just a great guy, and that's more important to me than a lot of things. So I'd rather have coaches on our staff that are great guys and do it for the right reasons and teach the kids the right way and good sportsmanship and all that stuff and good character. And I appreciate you and value our friendship, and let me know if everyone ever want to talk about anything anytime. So
well, thank you for the kind words. The feeling is definitely mutual. It's really about the people you surround yourself with. I've surrounded myself with really great people just like you that have kind hearts and empathy and care about others, and that's very important. And the players that I've had the privilege to coach, they've already been good, and they would have been good with me or without me. So I'm just blessed to have them in our program. And yeah, man, really appreciate your time.
Absolutely, can't wait to someday be able to collaborate with you on a tournament or something again. Or
for sure,
look forward to seeing you looking across the court and being in a close game and coaching against you or one of your teams, or just really being out there coaching again. I think I might shed a few tears for when I get back and actually coach a game again, because I miss the camaraderie, I miss the competition, and I miss seeing the kids being happy out there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you for listening to the Beyond the Buckets podcast. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and share the show with your friends. And until next time, take care.